I think, okay, we are live now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, maybe we can also share some. I think you have a lot. Hi, Diana. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Ashley. Now, what was you asking me? I mean, I think that's part of the adventure because I don't have any idea what you're going to ask me or whatever. We just go with it, okay?
Yeah,
This is what.
exactly. So I just wanted to say maybe, I do not know, maybe write down below if you have already tried a live stream before or if you'd like one, because for me, this is the first time and I was facing some technical issues. And I'm very introverted. I know this may come as a surprise, but as Margaret said, I said to her, okay, let's do a collab. And I was thinking just to write. And she was like, hell no, I am a generator. I want to be in front of the people, face it. And she was like, when are you going to start? Because I was because I was always saying, not the time is not the right moment. And I was always, but the time is now, apparently.
It is. You have a message to give, so here we are.
Yes. So, Margaret, I would love for you to present yourself. So, um, just how you feel about yourself. So, who you are, what you do, why did you start the Substack? How was your career journey so far? Because I named this the Empower Journey. We had a short conversation together, and at the end, this is really what I thought about our conversation and about you. So, the Empower Journey, because you were in army in a very masculine environment, and then you shifted completely, a career change that many people, when they dream of retiring, you made a complete shift, and here you are, like leading conversation, inviting other people. So I find that amazing. So how did you do it all?
Good question, right? So it's like I was on this path, okay? And so every time I tried to veer off path, okay, something brought me back to that same point. So it was the spirit, okay? So I started my civilian career in July 28th, 1986, okay? And I started off with an associate's degree in in electronic technology of all things, okay? So I'm like, okay, cool. I can get with electricity, okay? So I never did this work, okay? It didn't matter. Because once I got my degree, then I reached out to the National Oceanic Administration, okay? Everybody's familiar with that. Okay, they said, okay, we see you got an associate's degree, but you have no experience. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, all right, fine. That you have to read between the lines. In other words, we don't want you. And I say, okay, that's fine. Okay, because something's better out there for me. Because anytime somebody rejects you, trust and believe there's something better waiting in the horizons for you. So, a friend I went to school with, his sister-in-law had, she was in program management with the Corps of Engineers. She dealt with the money. I was like, he said, this is my sister-in-law. I like, cool. He said, give me your resume and I'll give it to her. I put it together and all that stuff. And a couple of weeks later, they called me in for an interview. I'm like, okay, I hear you. So he said, what happens if we offer you this job? I'm like, sir, I'm gonna make it a career. Okay. Now I got my paperwork finally from the federal government saying, okay, I thought I had 38 years. So by the time they added my sick leave on there, now I got 39 years and 2 months. I'm still short from my 40 years. I'm like, whatever. Okay. So I'll take what I can get. I deserve it. Okay. And so the thing that I'm pissed off about now is they tell me, okay, you are limited about how much money you can make a month because you're getting Social Security. And I'm like, damn if you do, damned if you don't. Okay. So I would prefer not to take the Social Security. That way I'm not limited about how much money I can make. But since I'm in this situation, I'm gonna take it for now. I'm gonna figure out. Okay. They say, well, you can make as much money as you want once you get 67. Who's to say I'm gonna live till 67? I'm just 63. That's 4 more years from now. So I'm limited. Right now, I don't know how much I can make. Okay. I just got my retirement annuity. Okay. I just got my Social Security check. All right. And so they say you're gonna get your pension within so much time. I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, so I'm limited. So I can't worry about that right now because I have to pay the bills today. I'll worry about tomorrow. Okay. If necessary, I find another job. I'll pay you back what you paid me for now, and you can cut that shit off. I'm sorry, I'm just being blunt. Okay, you can cut it off. So they are not gonna stop me. Okay, period. So I'm limited right now, just for a minute. Okay, everything is falling into place. Okay, I still have this huge 5-bedroom house that I don't need and don't want. I didn't want the house in the beginning, but I had no choice but to buy this house because I was coming from Israel to Alaska, and I had no idea there's limited inventory in Alaska. So by the time you go to the house, there's already 3 or 4 offers on it. Okay. So I lost out on 2 houses before I got here. Okay. Because of that. And I had the real estate agent, I had her going underneath the house with the camera, send me pictures. Cause see, I work for the Corps of Engineers. I know what the stuff to look for. And they still got me on this house, okay? Because they use what you call that program where you can manipulate the pictures and stuff. So by the time I got over here, the fence was falling down and all this other crap, and I had to dump a bunch of money in the damn house to bring it up to the quality of life that I have grown accustomed to. Okay. So what I did was I've been taking money from my retirement, my TSP the whole time, because like I said, I had a shopping addiction, from all this trauma and everything that I was going through. Okay. And then, when I was in Israel, they dropped those mortars. Then the big voice go off. Then I got to figure out, okay, what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna Sometimes that stuff went off. You're supposed to go into, I had a bomb shelter inside of my apartment. One of those, the bomb shelters, basically, you can use it as an extra space or a bedroom. Okay, I was supposed to run in there, take this mask, and put it on. Okay, that's still not gonna save your ass. You know what I'm saying? Because if they got chemicals or whatever, that mask is only gonna keep you safe for so long. So they even come in, they change the windows out, put this special coating on the glass. So if these mortars come in and it shatters, then it won't, you know. I'm like, okay, whatever. So we had to go through a lot, okay? To Most people in Israel, they have bomb shelters in their homes, apartments, and everything. The newer ones, the older ones, no. Some of those places, they have maybe a hole or something. They have built somewhere and go down there, because the big voice go off, you got 30 seconds to get somewhere. I got so tired of it. I'm just gonna lay here in the bed. When my time to go, I'm gonna go. Because when my building was situated, I'm like, if they come and hit that thing, it's like 3 buildings right together. And I'm like, that could be like the I don't want to say 9/11, but seriously, it can do some serious damage. Okay. And it seems like every time they come and attack, it's around the times of Israeli holidays. Okay. How convenient, you know? And the worst thing is, if you're on the highway and one of those things come down, you can't get out the car. You dead. Okay. All that fire and stuff. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I was always under stress there because they say, if we call you, you got 3 minutes to answer the phone. If you don't answer that phone, they will come over there and kick your door in. Okay, because State Department was responsible for the Corps of Engineers safety and security. Okay, even when we was in Iraq. because they tell you we're going out to do an inspection on this site to make sure the contractor's doing what he says he did. They'll tell you anything to get the money, okay? And then you go out there. It's like, where's the project? Where is it? Because it's so dangerous, okay? You have to pay the people there to help to protect you in addition to our own forces, okay? Because we don't have the communication like they do, okay? They talking among themselves in their own language and so on and so forth. We can understand, but still it's better just to pay them. You get more loyalty out of people when you're paying them. When you're not paying them, they're not going to be loyal. They'll tell you they'll be loyal, but they won't.
Yeah, but this is all over the world. It's like money talks, you know that? So,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly,
I
absolutely.
wanted, yeah, I
Oh, go
have
ahead.
two more questions from what you said. So the first one is right now it's very hard for graduates to find jobs. So they are asking for junior roles like plus 5 years, plus 3 years. So if nobody hires them, how will they get the experience? Because also you said you had the degree and nobody cares basically because there are so many graduates who cannot find a position. They are like, oh, you have no experience. But if nobody hires me, how will I get the experience? First of all, that is the first question. And the second was you said that one of your friends had the sister-in-law and she saw your CV. And what do you think is the best way to find a job? Because I think networking is still the best way.
It is. It is. That's why I'm always networking throughout Substack, LinkedIn. You never know where your next job or next opportunity can come from. It could come from you. You have your own business, okay? So I can give you my resume and you can hire me. So it's I look at every connection as an opportunity. If it's not to work for you, maybe you can hire me uh, to coach you. So I don't limit myself in any capacity. Okay, we're alliances. Okay, you reached out to me, and that's where we
Yeah,
are. Okay,
exactly.
that's how you got to work things. You got to work things from different positions. Okay, I'm gonna submit to you my resume, but I'm gonna also maybe offer you a free coaching service or two so you can see how you feel afterwards. Okay, you got to give people something. You want something from somebody, you got to give something in return. Okay, like I come to you and offer you something, you like, oh, okay, much more agreeable. Okay, to see what I'm talking about because everybody is busy. Nobody has time for the BS. Okay. So when you come to me, talk to me, bring something. Okay. Period. So,
Absolutely.
right. So I might know you, but then I might also know your cousin, say, for example. So I'm gonna get a relationship with your cousin. And then he gonna come back and say, you know what? She's really a good person. I think you should hire her. So you gotta come up with different angles because there's a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of consultants out there. What sets you apart from everybody else? Okay. While you sleeping, I'm gonna be up and figuring that out. I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna look at your bio. I'm gonna look about everything about you and figure out what it is that make you tick and how can I come across to to let you see who I am. Okay, I'm gonna bring my A game. That's
Yes,
it. Okay, that's what
I
we
like
have to
this.
do. That's what we have to do. If you want the job, you got to
You,
show. You got
yeah,
before I go into the interview, I'm gonna claim that job. This is my job. And when you do that, you go in there with certain presence. Okay, you go in there and they can feel your energy and think, oh, I like that. She brought her A game and this and that and the other. Don't go if you go in there like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. You down here. You ain't nobody gonna want that. It's about resonance. It's about showing who you are. Okay? This is my job. When do I start? Boom. What do
yes.
I have to lose? What do I have
I
to
know.
lose?
Yeah, exactly. So the worst that can happen is they will say no. I know many people, they are like, when they ask you, do you have any questions? She is like, yes. When do I start? And she got the job immediately. So it shows a lot of confidence.
And also, before I go into the interview, I'm going to do all my research about this company. Okay, I'm gonna find out where they're located, how many how many employees they have. I want to see as much as I can because they ask you, you have questions. I'm gonna come up with at least a couple questions. Then they know you've done your homework. You showing initiative. Okay, and they're gonna say, yeah, this person. She done did her homework. She done did all this. Now she came up with some. I'm coming up with some intelligent questions to ask. What do you think of your projections in the next 2 to 3 years, as far as growth wise? Okay, something maybe relating to my work. So you gotta work the system, not let the system work you. Bring your A game.
Yes, love it. uh, so my next question would be, now you are in the job. So you got the job. And I think the next step is to keep the job, to keep your sanity, enjoy the job, because many people start crying for the job they prayed for. So they are like, oh, I love this job. And like 2 weeks in or 6 months in, and they show the boss is toxic, my manager is toxic, I don't know, the team is toxic. So everything around gets toxic, or you didn't know beforehand, you know? So how do you handle these workplace politics, so to say, or the little games? And please, one more thing, for the people who are in the call, they can ask question here as well. So if you'd like something to ask, let us know.
I say it shouldn't take 6 months to realize that, okay? Because after my last job, I knew within the first week that I wasn't gonna be able to stay there very long, okay? But I said, I done moved 8 times, and I'm not leaving this time, okay? Because I'm not moving again because I'm tired, okay? Because I want to retire, okay? So I ignored it. I ignored everything until I couldn't ignore it anymore. It's just facing me up like this because you keep punching and poking and punching a person. Eventually, they're going to go off or something. So when you realize in the first week that this is not going to get no better, that's when you start planning your exit plan. Okay? That's it. That's why I said
Yeah,
I
but
moved 8 times. Okay?
yeah, I think you have to be a pro for this. I mean, not many people can understand in 1 week what's going on. So how do you know the answer in 1 week?
Your body tells you. Your body tells you. Your intuition tells you. You feel this heaviness. You feel this. You feel this uneasiness. Okay, just like for example, if you're around somebody that you're attracted to, your blood pressure and everything is going to be a pleasant experience versus somebody trying to come and get you. That feeling, you know it. You've sensed it. We've all sensed it before, and then something's telling you, and you're like, no, 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 no. So you just choose to ignore it. Let's keep it real. You choose to ignore it, and you're like, oh, it'll get better. No, it won't, because I found out it was not just the supervisor. It was a number of people coming for me at one time. Okay, and I knew why. Okay, it was only two of us black people in that building. It was a black guy and me, and he and I was tight, and we knew we had our little thing going on. We like, okay, we got to be smart because they see us talking to each other. Then they're like, oh, they over there talking. What they talking about? So I'm like, we cannot stand here talking. Okay, so they gonna come for me afterwards. And they're like, oh, because you're not working. I'm entitled to a 15-minute break. I didn't want to go there. Okay, they want to. Michelle Obama said, if they go down here, you go up here. I'm like, I ain't got time to be going down in the gutter with these people. You got gutter thinking. You stay down there by yourself because I'm elevating myself to get the hell up out of here. I see the handwriting on the wall, and I saw it. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yes. Now, because for me now, when people ask me, I see many people. I also run some polls, and I see many of the people are either miserable in their jobs or stay because they have kids, mortgages. The job market now is literally a bloodbath, so they cannot leave. Because where are you going? If you jump ship, you have to jump somewhere, right? So you know it's toxic, and you are staying for your own reasons. How do you handle this?
Well, I had a number of choices, okay? I went to talk to the colonel once. Me and him had a real good conversation, okay? And I told him I was gonna go back to my supervisor, and going back to the chief rather, to talk to him about the situation, because you were always supposed to go to the lowest person, your first line supervisor before you go all the way up to wherever. Okay. I had already talked to him and he's like, oh, well, it's nothing I can do, because if I do something for you, I have to do something for everybody else. I don't give a damn about everybody else. I'm the only one that I see is being treated like shit. I didn't tell him that, but I was thinking, I'm like, okay, fine, 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 fine. Okay, I knew I couldn't win that battle. Okay, I'm like, well, can you take me and move me out to the project site? I work on project sites with guys all the time. I don't care. You know, I have my headphones or whatever. No, you can't work out there. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, because the supervisor can still pick up the phone and call or email me and terrorize me that way. So I'm like, dang, okay. I tried everything. They said, well, we're going to make her apologize to you, because what she did was send me an email. She sent the email to me accidentally and sent it to my coworker, my colleague, saying, oh, there she goes again. It's something with her every day. And I'm like, I'm wondering why they treated me like shit. It's because of her. Oh, she still feeding him all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? You paying me $130,000 to work on a $400 million project, but you're not paying me enough money to deal with all this BS. And I got to sit and you worried about a missing of a T or an I or a period or a comma, and then you take all of this stuff and use it against me when it's time to get the evaluation. Oh, well, we see that you done made 10 mistakes. So, um, we need to talk about how you can improve. Improve what? Improve what? There is nothing to improve. I couldn't say that, because their first thing they'll say, oh, she's an angry Black woman and she has problems and we need to send her to counseling or whatever. No, I say, okay, I can't win this. I just got tired. Okay. It was better for me to walk away, because I knew with 39 years of service, I get my Social Security, I get my pension, okay, and my annuities. So you don't sit there and put up with all that crap, because you're gonna have an alternate plan. You're gonna have plan B, plan C. Okay. Well, because while they're doing all this shit to you, you're gonna figure out, okay, well, if I walk away from this job today, what else can I do instead? You're gonna get real creative when you feel like, especially when they said you gotta go return to work. Oh my God. I used a lot of sick leave. It was days that I just didn't feel like going. I don't feel good today. I called in sick. What they gonna do? They gonna fire me after 39 years? So I used a lot of my sick leave. I just couldn't handle it, So I'm like, it is what it is. So what I say is, you see the handwriting on the wall, you start planning your exit plan, figuring out what alternative things that you can do. There's a lot you can do, because you didn't get to that point, uh, okay, to not be able to do nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you feel like you have nothing, then that's when you need to rethink things. You need to take a step back and look. There's other things we all can do. Let's keep it real. You figure it out.
Yes.
Because if you lose your job tomorrow, you're going to have to figure it out. Right? So it's better to leave on your own terms rather than to be fired, then have to figure it out.
True that. So one more thing, because you mentioned you went directly to the colonel, and I know many people in power, so the big boss, so to say, or the CEO, they always say, come directly to me, because they will come to me as well. But let me tell you, I assume you're junior, senior, and you have like VP, director, and everything, and you are supposed to directly report to your supervisor, right? But he has his own agenda, the VP has his own agenda. Until you go to the top, you'll never make it, because everybody will give the. So, how do you go to the big boss, so to say, because if you go to the big boss, they will be like, what? So you are not considering us, so you should come directly to your supervisor, right? But the people in power, they say, okay, I love your ideas, come directly to me, So how do you handle this? I would
Well,
say like power struggle.
it is a power struggle, because you got this hierarchy, okay? And again, they don't want, I mean, this is the military, okay? private sector is probably different, but you working for the military, you always go to the first line supervisor and you go up. So what I do is, okay, I sat and talked to you on this day and this time, and I'm going to document the conversation. That's what you do. You document each conversation. So when you have to go to the next level of in the command, I had this conversation with my supervisor on this day and time, and this was the conversation. I'll have everything documented. So if I have to, at the end up going to EEO or to get a lawyer, documentation is key. If you don't have no documentation, then what you said don't mean nothing. And even with the documentation, they can still find a way to manangle everything, because once you on their shit list, they're coming for you in every way they can. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Because when you do that, you better make sure you have a backup plan. Okay. I could have went to EEO, but this one guy told me, oh, I heard you was over at the EEO. We don't play that, okay? Because EEO is actually supposed to be separate from management, okay? But technically, it's not, because then it's called reprisal. Which is supposed to be illegal, but they find a way around all that. They harass you and to the point where you'll when you go to EEO, they gonna come out the woodwork on you. Everything. Oh, well, we see, looking at the camera, you arrived at the parking lot at 7:05. You're supposed to be at your desk at 7 o'clock. So it's just like they get you one way or the other. Okay. So they weigh you down. So I'm not gonna go to EEO. Okay. I'm not going to EEO. Forget it. Okay. And then as far as union, the government don't have no union. And we don't longer have they don't have collective bargaining no more. Okay. Because I was done on September 30th, thank God. So yeah, they don't even have collective bargaining. So they don't have a pot to piss out of, a window to throw it out of. So whatever they do to you, it is what it is. Okay. And as far as the court case, they can have that stuff going forever in court, and you'll never get your money. Okay, so the worst thing, what the worst thing? You want them to fire you, that way you can collect unemployment. I don't know how that works. So I don't know what to tell people. The best thing you can do is quit and go to work for yourself. I can't put up with that. Y'all good if you can, because I was almost dead, near death.
Okay. So, but how do they do that? So, I think
Who?
many people, everybody is like, okay, go do your own thing. It's like the freedom, it's waiting for you. But is it?
Not really, but it's better than putting all this time, effort um, on somebody else's, creating somebody else's, making millions dollars on you off of your back. Okay. And then what are you getting other than your paycheck? And then all this worry and all these things that are killing you and giving you cancer. If you're working for yourself, whatever you're doing, you're working for yourself, building your wealth, building your brand and things. So yeah, then you can see your efforts, whatever you're putting in, you can see it coming out. You receiving that, not somebody else. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
freedom. That gives you power. Okay?
Yes, true that, but it will take some time.
Of
What I
course.
mean is, yes, so
Yeah.
you don't go to the top directly. What I'm saying is, because I want to be really realistic about this. So you don't go one day, you say, I'm going to quit, start my own thing. It's very rare that you quit today and tomorrow you make millions.
True. But while you're sitting there putting up with all this crap, you putting together your business plan. Okay? Then you decide to quit after you put that in place. Okay? Because you don't want, you want to be coming from a position of strength, not a position of weakness. Right? And so you're still better off doing your own thing and figuring out what that is, rather than to keep taking somebody else's crap and it don't get better. Nobody pays you enough money for that. Okay. You pay yourself. Okay. Pay yourself by working for yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Would you say that you have to work harder for yourself than for a company?
I personally, I personally don't think so. Okay. The reason I say that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I had put my phone. I thought I put my phone on. I did do not disturb. But anyway, what did you ask me?
So, do you think you work harder for yourself or do you have to work harder? So, the amount of money, I'm talking from my own experience because I started several, so to say, side hustles before. So, I had an NGO, I had like a digital product before. So, what I mean is at the beginning, you put so much effort compared to the income you get. So you could work for hours and hours. So you have to figure out everything by yourself. So marketing, sales, e-commerce, social media management, copywriting. So many things you have to learn, which these skills will stay with you, but you need time to learn them. And what I'm saying, the money you get is not nothing compared to the effort you put. And that takes time. Oh, and of
I
course, the best thing would be to keep the job while planning your exit. This is my perception, at least.
Well, it depends on how much stuff that you have to go through. When you have spent months and months, sleepless nights, and then every time you get a phone call from your supervisor, then it sets you off, and then you always worry, what shoe's going to fall next. And I would just prefer to walk away. And yeah, you're going to work hard, but you're working hard for yourself, and whatever you get from it, you 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 internalize that. You know what I'm saying? But when you're working for somebody else, you just get a paycheck and that's it. They making all this money. They're getting all the prestige, all the influence, everything else. Okay. So I'm working hard, but I'm enjoying what I do. And that's the difference. Okay. When you enjoy what you do, it's not like work. It's more like a hobby. And then you're just getting money uh as a side thing. I went to work for the government, not for money, for selfless service, for helping other people. Okay. And my goal is still the same. I'm getting money already, but to get the money from the clients to be able to give them transformational change is more gratifying than the work that I was doing at that time. It was very gratifying. That book is closed, and this one is starting. It's similarities in the two. Okay, it's similarities. Altruism at its finest. Okay, uh, so um, it's better. If I had it all to do over again, I still would have did what I did with the government, and I would still do what I'm doing now. Okay.
Okay. Great. And how did you come up with the idea to start the Substack, Empower Journey, everything?
Well, it's listening to your intuition. Uh, I don't know. Something just said start a Substack. Okay, I was thinking about Medium, but something says Substack, and so that's what I did. It was an opportunity for me to write because I started off writing as a child, uh, growing up in a dysfunctional family, abusive household. First thing you do is you write to be able to release all of this trauma and fear and everything that you've gone through. And so I was writing in college, okay, academic writing, and then I did technical writing with the Corps of Engineers my whole career. So I always wanted to write for on a personal level. So that's why I joined Substack. Okay, and gave me an opportunity to utilize my coaching uh, skills and my degrees, okay, because I wasn't allowed to utilize that with the Corps of Engineers because it wasn't, Corps of Engineers. I wasn't an engineer, so they like this is not necessary. But yet and still, they did have a Army coaching program, but they said if you coach anybody, it has to be on your own time, not on government time. And I'm like, really? Because we are helping to develop the next generation of Corps of Engineers to model and I'm not allowed to coach them during coaching hours. I'm like, fine, I'll do it on my own time because as a certified coach, we have to have so many uh, hours, okay, every year to renew our certification. Okay, so I was not going to let the Corps of Engineers stand in my way, and they didn't, and I'm not letting anybody else stand in my way either. So when you get in opposition, you figure out a workaround. That's what we do. You figure it out. If you take it, you take a zero out, you can look at everything, and you can find just that one nugget that you need to just get you going. Okay, you got to search. You got to listen. You got to listen and watch, and it'll come to you. Things will come to you. Things have came to me about okay. Everybody got a substack. Everybody say, "Well, you do it this way. You do it this way." No, I'm gonna do it the way that feels most genuine to me. Okay, and that is where my subscribers is going to get the most value. Okay, that's what I'm always looking at because I'm also looking at the same thing. What value am I going to get from this service that you're providing? Okay, and I'm always asking myself these questions.
Yes, I also feel the same sometimes. It's like you are back in high school or even middle school, checking like it's like how to get 10K subscribers on Substack, or I feel like it's always competition, not only at work, also on Substack. You see many people say do this, do that. I think for someone works, for someone doesn't. But always be true to yourself and what can you provide, not just follow, I would say, a prescription or
Yeah, because somebody was saying you should follow what she said she does. I like she's an expert. She's been doing this Substack and Medium stuff for years. And that works for her. That's her secret sauce. But that's not going to work for me because, see, I have to build up my all these things. Okay, I have accumulated a lot of worksheets and things over the years. Okay, but is it prevalent now? Okay, to what this individual needs. So it has to be personalized service for each person. You have to meet them where they are in their journey, not where you want them to be. Okay? It's up to them to decide.
yes. One more thing, because last time we talked about bosses versus leaders, and I already
Mm.
told you that I rarely met good leaders or even great leaders because nowadays we have a lot of information, like we are overflowing information. Everybody knows how they should be, but very few actually are. So, how to spot a bad versus a good leader, and how to be a good leader? Because I've heard many people say, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that." They overpromise and under-delivered, and it was such a disappointment. Because for me, I would rather not say it and then be so. It's like under-promise and over-deliver instead. But that's why it's very rare. We have so much information. Instead of using that information to improve, they use it to proclaim or advertise themselves and unfortunately do not deliver.
Yeah, well, we can't do anything about that but you just pay attention to the signs, okay? People, let their ego run wild. And when you see that in an individual, you'll say, okay, it's time for me to go. Because first of all, I don't want to have an interview with somebody unless our values are in alignment. Okay. If our values aren't in alignment, then we have nothing to talk about. We have nothing to talk about. Okay. Period. Wait, don't waste my time. Okay. So that's the thing. People need to look at these organizations, do their research, and say, is this organization in alignment with my values? I don't give a damn if you're paying me $1 million a year. Okay, all money ain't good money. If our values aren't in alignment, okay, we can't we can't come to the meeting of the minds. Period. Okay, so we can just choose to end the conversation. That's why I always have a conversation with a client, with prospective client up front. Okay, if our values aren't in alignment, then we are not a good fit to work together. Period. Next.
Okay. I love it, especially with the clients, because I think when you start like a coaching or consulting stuff, you try to get as much work as possible. You cannot choose at first, right? But I think the further you're in the journey, you are like you want people who are aligned with you, with your values, with your time. So how do you reach this goal from the very beginning? So you don't wait to make money or to reach a certain point. So you say, I'll never accept a client who does not align to my values, because that will cause so much headache and it won't
Yes, it
even work.
will.
Yeah.
Exactly. All money, not good money. Okay. I don't have no money right now, but I am not going to accept just anything. Period. Okay. Because when you do, that's your downfall. That person going to bring you down, your energy down, everything down. So don't waste your time. That's why I always have an initial meeting with whoever up front. I don't care if we having a live together, like you and I met up front, and our energy matched, and boom, we decided to do this. But if it didn't, I wouldn't do it. Period.
Okay. Thanks for accepting the invitation. So, so we talked also that you lived in 6 different countries, if I'm not wrong, right?
Well, no, not actually, but I lived in I was in Iraq, okay? I was in Israel. I traveled to like Amsterdam because I did work in Würzburg, Germany, okay? And on the weekends you could take the train to wherever you wanted to. So I went to Amsterdam a couple of times because they had the North Sea Jazz Festival. I forgot what you call it. So I went there, and so I went to Turkey, trips, around different places when I was in Israel. I went to Greece. I also went to South Africa. I've been to China, um, and I went to Egypt and Jordan on tours. Okay, and I probably was been some other places that I forgot about. And I lived in Texas for a while. So yeah. So I moved around. When you work for the military, you move, you go
Right. Yeah.
different places, And I love that. Because I got to see all these different places around the world that I'll probably never get a chance to see again. And it just broadened my horizons to work with people from all over the world, from different military services, because when we was in Iraq, you had people from the UK and military presence from all over working on that mission.
Yes. Would you recommend to people to work in different countries?
Absolutely. Why not? You network, you build these connections with people all over the world. Absolutely. It broadened my horizons. And people ask me, well, I see you have a varied, diverse, collaborations. Yeah, because I work with people all over the world. I don't care. And you cut your arm, we all bleed the same color blood is red. All of us are descendants from uh, Adam and Eve. So we all brothers and sisters, whether people realize it or not. So yeah.
Okay, great. One more question. Because we mentioned last time that you were being called names. So, for example, like I don't know, aggressive, angry black woman. I don't know, all kind of things. How do you react, or how would you recommend people to react? Of course, they always say be calm, do not react, keep it cool. But it's so easy to say it. But when you're in the moment, in the heat, how would you say? Because not everybody is cool.
You are right. I've been called a lot of names, and some names I didn't know because that was called from in a foreign language, but I knew it wasn't nice because you can tell by a person's body language before whatever come out their mouth that's not going to be nice. So most of the times I just ignore it and say they're just some ignorant people. They are ignorant. Okay, they they don't know any better or don't want to learn any better. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, when they come and they live in one town their whole life, you know, you're you're kind of short-sighted about what's happening in the world and about other people. Okay. And those are the people that can be the most insensitive. Okay. through problems. But if most people have traveled around the world, they're not going to be uh, thinking like that. Okay. I just say these ignorant people. So I just ignore it because most times if I'm by myself, why put myself in danger to say something? Because for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You don't know what people going through and what state of mind they're in. So it's just best to just, not to say nothing. But they might see my badge and it say, our badges over there say embassy, okay? I had diplomatic um, immunity, okay? So I just ignore it, okay? I like they're ignorant and just move on. It's not worth it. We have to pick our battles, and some battles are
Yeah,
just not worth
right.
fighting, okay?
Absolutely. So this is the last question. I know I keep saying the last, but
That's okay.
this is yeah. And afterwards we will go to the Q&A. Please, if you have any question, write down below. And the last question is because I know many people get tired. You worked for 39 years. So how did you find the passion, the energy? Everybody wants to retire. At some point I'm like, I'm tired. So I've worked my entire life. I just want to sit down, relax, watch a nice movie. So how do you find this time and energy and to start over at 63? So you'll give somehow hope to people that you can start over at any time, any age.
I wanted the opportunity to utilize my coaching skills, okay, that I paid for. Okay, I did use it because I did coach informally other coaches, and I got the hours that I needed to get my certification, but I was not allowed to utilize it at work. Okay, and I wanted to do that for me. I had this LLC since 2017, and I wanted to utilize that. Okay, as far as not working, I don't know what that is. Okay, I've always worked. I'm Generation Jones. We all about work. Okay, and so how to make a difference in the world in whatever years that I have left, I want to utilize that to make an impact for people. Okay, since I didn't get a chance to actually do it to the degree I wanted to, because I was not valued and I wasn't allowed because you're not an engineer, so you're not allowed to do these things. Okay, whatever. You limit me, but I'm not going to limit myself, and that's why being an entrepreneur allows you to not. You don't have to limit yourself. Opportunities are endless. Okay. And I'm not limiting
Mhm.
myself now. I limit myself my whole life, and I'm not limiting myself anymore. And I tell everybody, don't limit yourself because this could be our last day on earth. You never know. Okay. So live life to the fullest every day. Every day should be a celebration.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Margaret. I really enjoyed this conversation. And if anyone has any question, please let us know. We'd love to get some questions from you. Okay. If not, if you don't have any question or if you're too shy, don't be shy. Give yourself a chance. Um, okay, I guess no questions. It's fine. So thanks again, Margaret. I really enjoyed. And
Thank you so
I love
much.
your positive energy because, as you said, pick your battles wisely. This is what I say and never give up. I always love your positivity. It really empowers people. No matter what life throws at you, you just walk like a smile and a wave queen, you know?
That's what we have to do. Okay.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Thanks a
much.
lot.
Okay.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.